Hello guys and welcome back after an extensive winter break to the Russian football news video update. So guys, I'm sorry we haven't had a video uploaded to the YouTube channel in a few weeks. Apologies about that, but the winter break, I'll be honest, we took it quite literally. On the video front, the website's been going really busily, and basically what we'll talk about today, I'll just give you a brief outline of some of the updates on the website in case you haven't caught any of them. We'll just go over some of the transfer news, some of the other news around the site, and also the Predictions League update. Now, I know we're still a good month and a little bit off. We're about 5 weeks until the domestic season starts again, but we've also got Europa League, and we're possibly going to start up, just for fun, a bit of a Europa League Predictions League too. So, anyhow, let's get down to business then. First and foremost, on the site, there's some really exciting stuff going up at the moment. This week, in fact, we'll come to the conclusion of our 2017 Top 50, the RFN Top 50, the best 50 players as voted for by our team of writers. Now, today, on Thursday, we should have up later today, if not today then tomorrow, the top 3. But already we have from 50, we've got 4 articles up already, from 50 to 36, from 35 to 21, from 20 to 11, from 10 to 4, and then the top 3 will be the last instalment going up. It's always a bit of fun, and I'm sure you'll have some opinions, positive or negative. Feel free to get involved and let us know what you think. Have we got it right? Do you agree who should be in the list, who shouldn't be in the list, who should be higher, who should be lower? Get involved, get a bit of debate going, that's what we love. So keep your eyes peeled on the website, social media, wherever it is you get your notifications from. We also have an exclusive interview with Andrei Kanchelskis, all about Russian football, the state of the game, the state of coaching, youth development. I was lucky enough to meet him back in November, and he sat down for an hour and we talked about a lot of things, and the part about Russian football itself, his experiences, that's up on the website. That's recently gone up this week, so definitely keep an eye open for that. It's definitely worth a read. We've had some recent contact with various people connected in the Russian game about offers, transfer offers coming in. We actually have an exclusive up that went up this morning about Dinamo Moscow. Now, this neatly brings me on to transfer news. Now, Dinamo Moscow, as those of you who followed Russian football for a while will know, have been fraught with financial problems for, at least for the last few years, certainly visibly for the last few years. Of course, they were relegated a couple of seasons ago after financial fair play caught up with them. They had to sell all their stars. Matteo Verbuena, for example, was the star man at the time. They have actually been on, relatively speaking, a bit of a transfer flurry. Quite where they're getting their money from, though, this is the big question that we are still to get to the bottom of. Now, they've recently signed Yevgeny Markov from Tosno. They bought Konstantin Rausch, the German-raised, Russian-born international who's just made it into the Russian squad, who's got his nationality. Personally, I think that's a fantastic signing. He's got a lot of experience in the Bundesliga for Köln, I believe it is. They were having a lot of problems this season, though. As I understand, they've only won 2 games all season. But Rausch himself, he's got a fantastic engine. For those of you who haven't seen him play much, he can play left back, left wing back, can even play in midfield. And he's fantastically athletic. His crossing into the box possibly leaves a bit to be desired at times, but certainly an asset to a team in Dinamo Moscow's position. Don't forget, they're only 1 place above the relegation zone as things stand. So, and it's an incredibly tight table. Just as a very brief reminder, in case you've forgotten exactly where the standings are, there are only between Ufa in 6th place. Don't forget, 5th place gets into Europa League, so Ufa just outside European qualification. They're on 27 points. Down to Dinamo Moscow, only 5 points separate Ufa in 6th and Dinamo in 12th. So Dinamo are only 1 point above the relegation zone, but they're only 5 points from top half of the table. Well, 3 points actually from the top half of the table, 5 points up to 6th. So, Dinamo Moscow, they brought in Konstantin Rauch, they brought in Yevgeny Markov, who scored 8 goals for Tosno. Bearing in mind, Tosno, the third lowest scorers in the league, and Markov scored almost half of them. That's another very good signing, fairly cheaply as well, for about 350,000 euros. However, that sounds cheap, but for a club in Dinamo Moscow's position, don't forget, they're still 15 million euros in debt. May not sound like much, and it is a hell of a lot less than the 190 million euros they were in debt last year, or 18 months ago, I believe, sorry. So where are they getting the money from? They're on the edge of signing Abdul Tete from Lech Poznan in Poland, another 1.2 million euros. You add all this together, how on earth are they finding the money? It's an absolute mystery. And on top of all of this, VTB Bank this morning have come out, well, the head of the bank has come out and basically criticised the performance of Dinamo Moscow. This is an investment that the bank has made. They have a deal that means they have to run their financial support of the club up until the end of 2019 until a buyer can be found, but they are basically actively trying to get out of this, and they will do whatever they can to stop having to ply money into what seems to be an endless bottomless pit. The stadium is still not quite complete. A lot of work has gone into it. When I visited last summer during the Confederations Cup, it was quite a long way from being completed, but it is getting there. But that costs money. The players cost money. Salaries cost money. Pavel Pogrebniak has been the white horse hanging over the club for a while. As I understand, he has left the club. If he hasn't left, he's on the verge of leaving. But his salary is rumored to be about 2 million euros a year, and he's barely being played. So quite how Dinamo Moscow are surviving and will continue to survive, I will never know. But anyhow, that's the update from them. On the pitch, it seems they could well rise up the table with the new signings. How long the financial stability will remain, and those players as well, remains to be seen. Speaking of Yevgeny Markov, Tosno, another club I want to focus on. Now, they're 14th in the table on 20 points. They're only 1 point ahead of Anzhi Makhachkala, who are in the automatic relegation places. They've lost Yevgeny Markov, like I say, their top scorer. They've also, of course, sold Anton Zabolotny to Zenit St. Petersburg. Huge move for Zabolotny, who recently has got into the Russian national team squad. Good signing, I think. But honestly, I would rather see him on the pitch than Artyom Dzyuba, who's been a car crash, really, for the last few months. And it really seems to drag the pace of Zenit's attack down when he's on the pitch. If you add his goals, he scored 4, Markov has scored 8. That's 12 goals out of a total of 18 the entire season so far for Tosno. Where are they going to find the goals? Tosno, I think, at this point are in serious, serious trouble. They have signed Ricardinho from Red Star Belgrade, 28-year-old Brazilian winger. I don't know a lot about him, except looking at his numbers. He's barely played for Red Star this season. So, is he the answer? Is he going to be enough? Will he provide enough spark to keep them up? Very, very, very unlikely at this stage, you'd have to say. But anyhow, Tosno, they've got a lot of work to do. Only 10 games left to save themselves. Some other interesting transfers, I'm not going to go through every single one, but I'm sure you've already heard by now of the headline ones. Moritz Bauer, the big name move, so far anyway, to Stoke for about 5 million euros. And it's a very important transfer, of course, for Rubin Kazan, who have their own financial troubles. Jan Mvila is finally off the wage bill. He's gone to Saint-Etienne on a free transfer, I believe. I'm not sure exactly what his salary was, but I believe it was somewhere in the region of 50 to 60,000 euros a week, which is a mental amount. I may have got these figures wrong, please don't quote me on that, but it's a significant amount at any rate. Taras Burlak has left to Krylia Sovietov, Mio Chaktas, I'm not good at Croatian pronunciation, he's been released. They have brought in Vyacheslav Podberozkin from Krasnodar, great signing I think, suits both parties. Podberozkin wasn't getting enough playing time at Krasnodar. But of course, the two big names, Quincy Promes and Fyodor Smolov, they remain in Russia for the time being. There is a lot of talk about them possibly leaving. Quincy Promes was in the past linked to Liverpool, but Southampton have emerged as I actually think, a relatively sensible potential venue for Promes. They won't be a long-term solution for him. He deserves a bigger club in the long term, but he would be the undisputed number one attacking threat. He could really boost his profile even further, ease his way into the English Premier League if that's the league he wants to play in. Fyodor Smolov, well, a lot of talk about West Ham, but West Ham's offer of 17 million euros, it's probably about the price they would need to pay for Smolov. So in other words, an absolute bargain in today's market. Smolov himself, though, he doesn't seem desperately keen on the move. He has mentioned, he's been quoted as saying that this style of play doesn't suit him. David Moyes is not the most expansive coach. And one really attractive option that seems to be opening up is Borussia Dortmund. Well, I should say reopening, really. Last summer there was talk of Dortmund's interest. And the main factor in that, of course, is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who may well be leaving. He's been a disruptive influence, although he has scored a lot for Dortmund this season. And it seems that his time is basically done there. His disciplinary record, the mood around the club regarding him, it seems like he's a done deal. He's got to be leaving, surely. Arsenal are in negotiations. They've offered around 60 million euros, I believe it is. And if that deal goes through, of course, Dortmund will need a replacement. Now, they need a replacement who is not really cup-tied in the Europa League, and Smolov fits that bill. He played, of course, for Krasnodar in the qualifiers. They didn't get through to the group stage, so he's free to play there. He's cheap. He's an international. He's experienced. He's on form. He's versatile. On paper, it makes a lot of sense for Dortmund. It's a relatively low-risk signing. He's also friends with Andriy Yarmolenko, who they signed from Dinamo Kiev last summer. So there's that little extra added bonus there. Will Smolov go? It's very hard to say. It really wavers from day to day. My gut instinct says that at the moment, I don't think he will leave. I think he should, and if the chance is there, he's got to go. But I just get the feeling it's not going to materialise. I don't know why. Maybe it's just sentimental reasons. I want to see him face to face. I want to see him on the pitch in Russia, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Anyhow, that's a bit of the headlines that we've covered. One other thing, actually, I do want to mention on the website, in case you've missed it in recent days, is a translation of Nikita Simonyan's biography. Now, this is a fascinating read. He wrote this in the late 80s, and our resident translator statistician, Alexei Spektrovsky, has translated some chunks of it, so there certainly is at least one part up already. Possibly in the future we'll be adding chapters or sections to the website. Really fascinating insight into one of the great minds of the late Soviet era of football. There are round tables up there. World Cup guides to cities are going up. We've got Volgograd, we've got Kazan, we've got Moscow. I've written about Yekaterinburg. So if you are travelling to Russia or thinking of it, there are still some tickets available, but not many left. So get on the FIFA website if you want to get to the World Cup. We've got loads of information and guides to help you plan that trip. So, head to the website for all of that. Now, last little point I'm going to mention for this update is the Predictions League. This is my little baby on the website. For those of you who regularly play, don't worry, there's not long to go. Only it's the 2nd of March, 3rd of March, 4th of March. That weekend is the first round of Russian Football Premier League games. So we're only 5 weeks away. Before that, there is Europa League. So this is what we're going to do. Next week, I will give you a more in-detail update on the Predictions Cup. And remember, this is going to be for prize money. It'll be a €5, £5 entry fee. And there'll be money to be won for people who get to the later stages. But I'll mention that next week. Keep your eyes peeled for Predictions League news. Europa League, if anybody is interested in a Europa League predictions game, just for fun, then let me know. On the Facebook page is the best place. Head to the direct message function, just write a message saying, I'm interested in Europa League predictions game. We've got 4 Russian teams to look out for, don't forget. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll be back next week with an update of the site, any transfer news, and the rest. But goodbye for now.